Good morning, viewers, and welcome to a short film about the Rushworth and Draper Apollo reed organs. This is the organ I use for practicing occasionally, and I've got to do some work. There's one or two notes that aren't sounding properly, for which I've got to get at the back of the instrument and drag it away from the wall. So I thought I'd make a short film just showing you the insides of it and a little bit about how it works and what it is. They are fantastic instruments. They're reed organs, so there are no pipes in this instrument at all. The sound's made by little brass reeds, and this is obviously designed to be, well, a substitute pipe organ, really. It's built to the same dimensions as a pipe organ console. It's very comfortable to play. It has limitations because it's a reed organ, but it is what it is. It's very, very useful for home practicing still, and yeah, I enjoy playing it very much. Rushworth made these, I think, from about 1911 through till 1939. I think they stopped, and this one was built in 1938, so it's a fairly late example. They did change a little bit over time, but I forget all the details. The early ones were fitted with foot treadles so that you could provide air to the instrument yourself, but obviously then you couldn't use the pedal board. So they also had a hand blowing lever. This being one of the later models, I'll show you down here, it's fitted with an electric blower internally, so this panel drops down and there is the blower, which is original. To make room for that, the main wind chest, which is housed in the bottom of the case, is about 3/4 of the size of the earlier models. And the balance swell pedal is in the middle where the old foot-blowing treadles were. You can see that the wind chest and the reeds for the bottom keyboard are actually here underneath the keyboard. And in a lot of reed organs, those are further forward, which sort of hinder the free movement of your knees when you're playing the pedals. So the fact that they're set back quite a way makes pedalling a lot easier. Show you the stops quickly. So we've got the stops over here for the swell and the couplers. And the grate stops and the pedal stops, and there's the little plaque. The pedal board is quite standard. There are some combination pedals there and there which just bring on certain stops, and there's an extra pedal down there which I added and is very rarely used actually. It's a reversible swell to grate. I think it does still work, but it rarely gets used. I think that's pretty much it. So I'm now going to start taking the case off and, if I'm feeling strong enough, move the organ away from the wall and have a look in the back and see what we can see. Right, so I've managed to remove enough of the case to see what's what and to get at the bits that I need to. So perhaps we'll just have a little walk around and show you what's what. So you can see the music desk and the front panel have been removed. So At the front of the instrument, what we've got is the swell reeds and chest and reservoir, basically. That's what we can see up here at the top. So this is the reservoir that holds the, it's not pressure, it's vacuum, but holds the wind for the swell. And the reeds are inside here. This is the swell shutter, so by opening the swell pedal, that lets us see the front two sets of reeds, and I think they are the oboe, yep. So you can see that opening. So behind that long wooden mute, each one of those little cells has got a reed in it. And then the bottom one, I think, is the bourdon, yeah. So that's a 16-foot stop, and the top one is an 8-foot stop. These are both operated by these here. I don't know whether you can see all of that. And that one opens that one. And then the other two, 8-foot and 4-foot, are around the back, which we'll have a look at in a minute. You can see the backs of the swell keys and the stickers that they operate. So those just push up to the valves that are at this level inside here, which I can take off and show you in a bit. And the little collars around here are acted on by the octave coupler, which is where the bottom octave doesn't have any. I don't know whether you can see the octave coupler fingers. They should be through there. That's the octave coupler being turned on and off. So with it on, you should see the octave key going down. So that's that. We'll have a look around the back and see what's what around there. So the side of the case is off as well, just because it's fairly easy to take off. And it's incredibly dusty inside. I've given it a quick wipe down, but there's a lot of dust. So you can see here we'll stick to the swell first, actually. So this is looking at the rear of the instrument, and this is the, so we can open that, the swell around the back, and we've got the gamba and flute reeds around there. I forget which is which, but there we go. Let's close that up again, and here you can see the octave coupler better, so that is engaged when the octave coupler is drawn out. So it's just like a standard reed organ octave coupler, but it's sort of upside down because it's working the other way. Right, let's have a quick look at the swell stop action, which is around here. So these are the links to the ends of the mute wires. So there's 4 ranks. This one goes into the tremulant, which is another story in itself. What else have we got? This is part of the combination action, which is a little bit stiff in its workings. That's the added swell to grate reversible toggle thing there. And these are the pedal coupler controls here. I can't quite see where the swell to grate, yeah, of course, that's the swell to grate coupler, which we'll have a look at in a minute. Anyway, let's have another view of the back. So all this work here is pedal couplers and the bourdon. No, it's not a bourdon, it's a sub bass or something. The quiet 16-foot, which is housed in this chamber here and operated by these wires. So as a pedal key is pressed down, these rods here lift up. That's what happens when you press a pedal key down, and you can see this wire here lifting, and that transfers its motion to a little sticker. I don't know whether you can see that going down. I think you can. So there's another set of pallets in the back of the grate chest, and on top of those there's this box with the sub bass reeds in it. So that's how they work. The rest of this action goes up to the pedal coupler work. Now these are great. So the backs of the keys, you can see the swell keys at the top and the grate keys underneath. The bottom 2.5 octaves, which match up with the pedal board, have got these metal extensions out of them, and they extend through these stickers, for want of a better word, and then they have these funny little levers on them, funny little fingers, which do absolutely nothing until this is turned. Now that is operated by the stop that goes to the, in this case, grate pedal. So when that is turned and one of these levers is lifted, it raises the back end of the key. You can see that. And that's how the pedal couples up to the keyboards. And the same for the top one. It doesn't do anything. You can see that little finger moving, it's completely inactive until this is rotated. And then the pedal couplers work. Really clever and neat little system, I think that is. Really, really nice. And you can see the action that goes to the stops over there. The large pedal reeds are actually inside here, and I need to get to the reeds that are inside here afterwards, so I might have to take that off in a minute. And these are just operated by large external pallets. Whether you can see any through that little hole, no, I don't think you can, that come directly up from the pedals. The pedal action. And the pedal action is fairly basic, it's just sort of, well, two sets of levers, splayed levers really. One comes directly to these, which are spaced a bit narrower than the pedal board perhaps, and then the other levers come and are condensed greatly into this rack here. So that's that. Let's have a look at the side action here. So you can see the blower is in there somewhere behind all that lot. This gubbins here is the action to the swell pedal, which goes up there, and you can see the two swell shutters opening either side. That's that. What else have we got? This business is the combination action, which I can show you a bit more clearly on here. So we've got the brass pedals around here, so when I press these, I'll show you what happens. They're not easy to press actually, but they shunt out by all these various levers and things. A combination of stops, and the other one, we'll take them back in again with a bit of a snapping action. It's not the smoothest thing in the world, but it works. You can see the stop action in much more detail here, so let's look at the diapason. So the stop for that is here. So here's what the stop action does. So the result is that a particular one of these, I don't know whether they're copper strips, is pushed down. They shouldn't be copper, should they? But and there's a little rocking lever at the bottom. Can you see that in there? Focusing very well. And that goes over and lifts the mute wire. These ones will be clearer. Which ones are those? Let's find the right stop there. So you can see the wire pushing down here and lifting up the wire that is attached to the end of the mute at the other end of it. That particular one's a little more complicated because it's this is a derived stop. So we've got two stops out of one basically. That's the Clarabella Dulciana set of reeds. More on that later. So that's pretty much all we can see for now. I'm going to remove some of the bits at the back so that I can get to what I need to, and I will show you more in a minute. This is looking at the back of the grate reeds with the resonating box removed, and in fact you can see here a lot of the pedal couplers have been taken off, and these are the pedal open diapason reeds underneath these external pallets. So that's what pressing a pedal key does, it just lifts up one of these and they've got a sort of common return sprung bar. They're fairly large reeds in their cells. They're not too slow to speak, they're okay. I've had a few problems with one or two of those fracturing and having to be replaced, but they're okay at the moment. And now back to these, you can see I've taken a reed out here, there's one missing. This is the 8-foot row, and there's the reed. It just had a bit of grit or something in it. It's now free to speak and it's fine. Now this is normally enclosed by a board that runs across here, so you can't see any of this. And this is the only derived set of reeds in the instrument, and that is to say there are 2 stops that operate on this particular set of reeds. And I can just show you, I think, by manipulating these levers. So the one stop, the Dulciana stop, just does this. It just opens up the reeds and allows them to speak inside a sealed chamber, which gives a very soft, it's very effective actually. And the other, drawing the other stop, which is the Clarabella, I'm hoping you can see this, does the same thing, but there is a secondary flap at the very top which also opens up. So just underneath that black bar, you should be able to see another flap. So that is opening the top of the sound chamber, and it creates a much fuller, slightly louder sound. We'll hear that later on. So that's the only derived stop in the instrument, and it is pretty effective actually. It's a bit of a cheat, but it also works. So that's all right. Okay, I need to put that reed back in, and then we can start to hear things working. Just before things go back together, I want to show you the swell wind chest. So I've just removed the reservoir from this. This is where the swell gets its wind or vacuum from. There it is on the floor, the reservoir. And this mess here is the tremulant, which didn't leave the factory like this. That's been the source of much experimentation, and which is why there's a hole cut in the top of this and a glass sheet put in so that I can see what's going on. Because it's fairly rubbish, to be honest. It's not very effective. I've made some improvements to it, but I still think there's some way to go. I'm sure there's a better way of doing it, but it's yet to be discovered. So how that works is that this section here is under vacuum, and normally the vacuum reaches the pallets through these holes here, and drawing the tremulant stop seals that, so that the air is forced to travel through the hole underneath here, causing this thing to flap around in the wind and make some sort of attempt at a tremolo with not very much success. Now if I take this board off, or just lift it off at least, you should be able to see all the pallets underneath. So these are the valves themselves, I think I can rest it on there, which the keys operate. So by pushing up, these are the back end and the swell keys, you can see, or should be able to see, pallets in there lifting up. They don't open very much, but it's enough to let the vacuum into the reeds. And they are just covered in sort of leather, sheepskin I think, and felt, and they bed over openings which lead down to the reeds. So it's fairly simple, but it works well. Let's have a look at that from the front. Okay, and you can see that everything is held together with clips, which is a really nice design. It means that things can be taken apart very, very easily. So I'll just put that back on. Right, I'm going to turn the organ on and make some sort of fairly awful racket on it, so you can just see it working from the back with all the gubbins doing what they do. So let's have a go. That's the power to the motor. Right.